Evan Hawley walked alone on the quiet alien moon, his boots making soft sounds on the pale blue sand. He was tired after weeks of traveling from planet to planet. He only wanted one peaceful night, but life had a different plan for him. The sky above him glowed with two small suns, one silver and one orange. The air felt calm, almost too calm. Evan looked around and saw nothing except tall stone trees and strange glowing plants. It looked safe, but he still felt someone watching him from far away. Evan took off his heavy pack and sat on a rock. He closed his eyes for a moment. Suddenly he heard fast footsteps behind him. Then two young voices shouted at the same time, "We saved a seat for you." Evan opened his eyes quickly. Two small alien twins stood in front of him. A boy and a girl, maybe 8 or 9 years old. They both had bright blue skin, shining silver eyes, and white hair that looked like soft light. Their faces were smiling, like they knew him very well, but Evan had never seen them before in his life. He slowly stood up. Do I know you too?" he asked, confused. The girl laughed and held his hand. "No, but we know you," she said. The boy nodded. "We were waiting for you, Earthman." Evan felt a chill move down his back. Why were strangers waiting for him? Why? Did they act like he was important? He looked around to see if anyone else was near, but the forest was silent, yet he felt something. Something hidden, as if the shadows were alive, as if someone was watching every move he made. The twins pulled him gently. "Come sit with us," they said, pointing to an old broken stone bench under a tall twisted tree. The tree glowed softly, casting strange blue light on the ground. Evan followed them carefully, still unsure. But the twins looked harmless, sweet even. He didn't want to scare them by refusing. They sat close to him, one on each side. The girl leaned her head on his shoulder like she trusted him completely. Evan froze. "Why are you so comfortable with me?" he asked softly. The boy looked up at him. "Because you feel warm," he said. "And safe," the girl added. "You feel familiar." Evan didn't understand. He knew he had never met alien twins in his life, but their words made him feel strange. Inside, like they were speaking from a dream he couldn't remember. The wind blew gently, leaves rustled, and again Evan felt eyes on him. Someone was definitely watching. He turned around quickly, but he saw nothing except darkness between the stone trees. "Who else is here?" Evan asked. The twins shared a look but didn't answer. That silence made Evan's heart beat faster. He tried to stand up. "I should go back to my ship," he said. But the twins grabbed his hands tightly. "No." The girl whispered, her voice suddenly scared. "Please stay," the boy added. "You are safer with us." Vivan stopped moving. Their fear felt real, like they knew something terrible could happen if he left. His human instincts told him to stay. Alert, something was wrong, something big. Just then, a soft sound came from the trees, like a breath, like a sigh, or maybe a whisper. Evan looked into the darkness again. He could swear he saw a shape. A tall figure standing still, watching, waiting. "Who is that?" Evan whispered. The twins held his arms tighter. Their eyes were wide, but they didn't speak. Their silence said everything. Whoever was hiding there wasn't just a normal person. They were someone powerful, someone dangerous, someone who didn't want to be seen. Evan felt a mix of fear and curiosity. Why was this stranger hiding? Why were the twins so calm with him but scared of that shadow? Why did they say they knew him? Night slowly fell. The two suns dropped behind the horizon. The moon turned dark except for glowing plants and the strange shining tree. Evan decided to stay with the twins until he understood what was happening. He didn't want to leave them alone, not when something was watching them from the shadows. The twins leaned against him like he was their protector, their silver eyes closed. As they rested, but Evan couldn't sleep. His eyes kept searching the tree line. And in the darkness, the hidden figure stayed completely still, observing him with silent, powerful presence. Evan didn't know it yet, but the one watching him was the Empress of the entire Dominion, and she had been waiting for him far longer than he realized. The night on the alien moon was quiet, but Evan Hawley did not feel peaceful at all. He sat on the stone bench with the strange twins sleeping against. His arms, their small bodies, trusted him completely, but Evan's heart refused to rest. The shadow he saw earlier still stayed somewhere between the tall stone trees. It felt like the darkness itself was watching him. He kept his eyes open, waiting for any movement, but the shadow never stepped forward. It only watched, silent, patient, powerful. Evan whispered, "Who are you?" But the forest answered with nothing except soft wind blowing through glowing leaves. He wanted to stand up and check, but the twins held onto him even while sleeping. Their little hands were tight fists around his sleeves, like they were scared. He would disappear. After hours passed, the first silver sun slowly rose. Soft light spread through the moon's forest. The twins woke up at the same moment, like they shared one mind. They looked at Evan and smiled. "Good morning, Earthman," they said together. Their voices sounded warm, sweet, and strange. Evan tried to sound calm. "Who was watching us last night?" he asked. The twins looked at each other again. Their eyes became serious, but they didn't speak instead. The boy whispered, "She keeps us safe," and the girl added, "But she scares others." Evan's body tensed. "Who is she?" he asked again, but this time the twins stood up and pulled him deeper into the forest. "Come, you must see," they said. "We want to show you something." Evan followed them carefully. They walked confidently between the glowing plants as if they knew every secret path in this place. The forest became darker as they moved, the trees taller, the silence heavier. Suddenly the twins stopped. They raised their hands and pointed. "There," the girl said softly. "She is behind the veil." Jeevan looked forward and saw nothing except a huge stone arch covered in strange symbols. It looked ancient, like it had been standing there for thousands of years. A thin mist floated around it, glowing blue. Evan stepped closer. He felt the air become colder with every step. The boy whispered behind him, "She is watching from inside, waiting for you," the girl added. Evan felt his chest tighten. He wanted answers. He wanted the truth. He placed his hand on the stone arch, and immediately a soft pulse of energy moved under his fingers. Like the stone was alive, like it recognized him. Suddenly the shadows inside the arch shifted, not like wind, not like fog, but like a person moving, slow, graceful, powerful. A voice echoed softly, "You came sooner than I expected." Evan stepped back quickly. His heart jumped. The twins didn't move. They stood straight, their heads bowed, almost like they respected the hidden voice. A tall figure stepped out from the mist, covered in long dark robes that shimmered like night sky. A golden crown rested lightly on her head. Her face was half hidden by a delicate veil, but Evan could feel her eyes on him, sharp, intelligent, ancient. The twins whispered at the same time, "Mother." Evan's breath stopped. Mother. The shadow watching him the whole night, the one hiding inside the forest, was their mother? The woman stepped closer. Her presence felt heavy, like silent power filled the air around her. Even the plants stopped glowing. Even the wind stopped moving. "I am the Empress of the Dominion," she said softly. "And I have been watching you, human." Evan swallowed hard. He had heard stories of the Dominion, a massive alien empire feared across galaxies. But he never expected to meet its ruler on a quiet hidden moon. He tried to stay calm. "Why are you watching me?" he asked. His voice was steady, but his hands were not. The Empress tilted her head slightly. "Because my children chose you," she said. "And because you did not run from them." Evan looked at the twins. They smiled brightly at him, completely unafraid of the powerful woman. The Empress continued. "Many want them dead," she said. "They are the last heirs of the royal bloodline." Evan felt a shock. The cheerful twins he met yesterday were actually royal heirs, hunted, endangered. The Empress stepped even closer. Her eyes glowed faintly behind the veil. "You are different from what I expected," she whispered. Your presence changed the air around them. They slept peacefully for the first time in years. Evan didn't know what to say. He was just a wanderer, A traveler with no home, no mission, no purpose. But the Empress looked at him like he was something rare, something important, something destiny had delivered to her doorstep. She raised her hand slightly. The mist around the arch thickened. The earth trembled gently. "You will stay," she said, not as a command, but as a strange, calm truth. Evan stared at her. He didn't agree. He didn't disagree. He only knew one thing. Nothing about this moon, these twins, or this Empress was normal, and whatever story he had stepped into, it was only just beginning. The forest stayed cold and silent after the Empress spoke. Evan Halley stood still, trying to understand everything. Royal heirs, danger, enemies, shadows. It felt like he had walked into a story far bigger than himself. The twins held his hands gently. "Don't be afraid," the girl whispered. "We like you," the boy added. But their small voices did little to calm the rising storm inside Evan's chest. The Empress watched him quietly. Her presence was powerful but calm. She seemed to study every breath he took, every reaction, as if she was trying to read his soul. Evan finally spoke. "If your children are in danger, shouldn't you keep them hidden?" The Empress lowered her head slightly. "They were hidden," she said softly. "But last night, when you appeared, everything changed." Before Evan could ask what she meant, a deep rumble shook the ground. The glowing plants flickered like dying flames. The air turned heavy. The forest fell silent, too silent. The Empress's eyes widened. The twins froze. Evan's heart jumped. Something was coming, something big, something violent. A loud metallic sound tore through the forest like huge machines landing, like heavy armor crashing down. The Empress whispered one word: "Raiders." The ground trembled again as shadows moved between the trees. This time, not quiet or gentle, but fast, sharp, angry. Evan saw dark armored figures walking in formation, their armor glowing with red symbols, their eyes burning like fire. They carried long weapons that hummed with deadly energy. The twins gasped. "It's them! They found us!" Evan reached for the children. The Empress stepped forward, raising her hand. Her voice became sharp and commanding. "Stand behind me," she ordered. Not just to the twins, but to Evan too. But Evan didn't move. Something inside him refused to hide. He felt the same pull he felt when he first saw the twins. Like their fear belonged to him, like their danger was his danger. The raiders marched into the clearing. The leader stepped ahead, tall, armored, cruel. He looked at the Empress with a mocking grin. "Empress," the raider commander said, "we meet again." The Empress did not blink. "You will not touch my children," she said, her voice calm but deadly. The commander laughed. "Your hiding place was clever," he said, "but not clever enough." He pointed at the twins. "The little heirs belong to us now." Evan's fists tightened. His breath burned in his chest. He stepped in front of the twins without thinking. The commander stared at him, confused. And who is this human? A pet? A toy? The twins shouted, "He is our friend. He came for us." The commander smirked. "Then he dies first." He raised his weapon, a sharp, glowing blade shaped like a burning claw. The Empress moved to defend him. But Evan moved faster. Something inside him snapped open. An instinct he never felt before. He grabbed a fallen metal branch, held it like a staff, and charged forward. The commander swung his burning blade. Evan barely dodged it. The heat cut the air near his face. Evan struck back with the metal branch. It rang loudly against the commander's armor. The Empress watched. With surprise, humans were strong, yes, but not usually like this. Not fearless, not wild, not this fast. Evan fought like he had trained for years, but he hadn't. His body simply moved. His instincts screamed to protect the twins, protect the innocent, protect whoever called for help. The commander growled. "This human is annoying." He lifted his weapon higher, ready to finish Evan with one powerful strike. But the Empress suddenly raised her hand. A wave of blue energy burst from her. No sound, no explosion, just pure force. The commander flew back and crashed into a tree. His soldiers stumbled. Confused, the Empress stepped forward like a storm in human shape, her voice sharp like thunder. "You dare threaten them?" Energy crackled around her fingers. The ground itself trembled under her power. The raiders hesitated. Fear flickered in their eyes. But the commander stood back up. He wiped blood from his mouth and shouted, "Take the twins!" Now dozens of raiders charged at once, weapons aimed at Evan, the Empress, and the children. The twins screamed. Evan grabbed them and pulled them behind a fallen stone. The Empress stepped in front, energy swirling around her like a storm. The battle began. Flashes of blue and red light, shouts, metal, fire, smoke. Evan fought off any raider who came near the twins. His body moved on pure instinct. He kicked, blocked, punched. He didn't feel fear. He only felt purpose. The Empress unleashed powerful waves of energy, knocking raiders back one by one. But more kept coming, too many, too fast. Evan shouted at her, "We need to run." But the Empress shook her head. "They will chase us forever," she said. "We end this today." Her eyes glowed brighter, her voice deeper. She raised both hands. A storm of blue energy exploded across the clearing. The raiders flew back like broken dolls, their armor cracked, their weapons shattered. Silence fell. Only smoke remained. The Empress lowered her hands slowly, weak but standing. The twins ran to her and hugged her tightly. Evan watched, breathing hard, clothes torn, hands bruised. He had survived a battle against an elite army, not because he was strong, but because he refused to let the children die. The Empress looked at him with new eyes. Stronger, deeper, knowing, "You fought like a guardian," she whispered. "And this is only the beginning." Smoke still floated between the glowing stone trees. The ground was broken. The air smelled like burned metal and dust. Evan Hawley stood breathing hard, his arms shaking after the fight. But the twins ran to him and grabbed his hands, their small fingers warm, their eyes full of gratitude. "You saved us," the girl whispered. "You didn't run," the boy added. Evan only nodded, still trying to calm his fast heartbeat. The Empress looked at him for a long, silent moment. Her veil moved gently with the cold wind. Her presence still felt powerful. But now her eyes held something else, respect, and something deeper he couldn't yet understand. The raiders lay defeated around the clearing, some unconscious, some too scared to move. But the Empress did not finish them. She only raised her hand and spoke a single command: "Leave." The soldiers scrambled away, dragging their injured commander with them. They didn't dare look at her again. The Empress waited until the last shadow disappeared into the forest before turning back to Evan. "You protected my children," she said softly, even without knowing the truth. Evan frowned. What truth? The Empress slowly walked closer. The glowing plants brightened as she approached, almost like they knew their ruler was passing. She stood before Evan, tall and calm. "You deserve to know who they are," she said, "and who you fought for." Evan looked at the twins. They stood quietly, holding each other's hands, their silver eyes watching him with trust and warmth. It was hard to imagine they were anything more than innocent children. But the Empress lifted her hand and touched the symbol on the boy's forehead. It glowed faintly with golden light. Then she touched the girl's forehead. Her symbol shined too. "These marks," she explained, "belong to the ancient royal bloodline. They are the last living heirs of the Dominion throne." Evan's eyes widened. "Last heirs?" The Empress nodded. "Years ago, there was a great betrayal inside the palace," she whispered. "Enemies rose from within our own ranks. They wanted to take the throne and rule the Dominion with fear." She took a slow breath, her voice softened but stayed steady. "I was carrying the heirs when the attack came. They wanted my children before they were even born." The twins lowered their heads quietly. They had heard this story many times. The Empress continued, "I escaped in the night with only a few loyal guards, but the rebels followed us. They wanted to erase the royal bloodline forever." Evan felt a chill move through him. "So you hid them?" "Yes," the Empress said. I sent them far from the palace to this moon. A quiet place, hidden by old magic. No one was supposed to find them. Evan glanced at the forest, still shaking from the battle. But someone did, he said. The Empress nodded sadly. The raiders work for the ones who betrayed us. They have searched for my children for years. They want to take them and break the last hope of peace. Evan looked at the twins again. Suddenly their smiles, their innocence, their strange connection to him, all of it felt heavier, more meaningful. The girl stepped forward and tugged Evan's sleeve. "We saw you in dreams," she whispered. "Long before you came," the boy nodded. "You were always there. You were holding our hands." Evan stared at them, confused. "Dreams? Why me?" The Empress answered before the twins could. "There is an old prophecy," she said, "about a guardian from a distant world. A protector who stands with the royal heirs in a time of danger. A human." Evan shook his head quickly. No. That can't be me. I'm just a traveler. You faced an army alone." The Empress interrupted gently. "You protected them without knowing who they were. You fought with no fear." Evan felt his throat tighten. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't a guardian. He was just a man moving from world to world, trying to forget his past, trying to escape memories that didn't let him rest. But the Empress stepped closer, her voice calmer now, more human. "Your heart is stronger than you believe," she told him. "And your spirit woke something the moment the children called you." Evan lowered his head. He didn't understand why the twins dreamed of him, or why he felt so connected to them, but something inside him whispered that this was not an accident. He didn't just walk onto this moon. He was pulled here, called here. The twins came forward and hugged him tightly, their small arms wrapped around his waist, their voices soft but full of emotion. "Don't leave us," the girl whispered. "You feel like home," the boy said. Evan blinked, trying to stop the sting in his eyes. He had not felt like home to anyone for a very long time. The Empress watched him with quiet eyes. She could see the conflict inside him, the fear, the confusion, the hidden pain. Finally she spoke. "You have a choice. Human," she said softly. "You can walk away now, and no one will stop you. Or..." She looked at her children, then at Evan. "You can stay. Help them. Protect them." Evan looked down at the twins, holding him like he was someone important, someone needed, someone loved. He took a slow breath. His answer was not clear yet, but one thing was, his heart was already tied to theirs, whether he liked it or not, and deep inside, he felt it. His journey with them was far from over. The morning after the battle arrived slowly. Soft golden light touched the broken clearing. Smoke faded. Silence returned to the forest. But inside Evan Hale's heart, nothing felt calm. He stood near the stone archway, watching the twins play with glowing leaves. Their laughter filled the air, light, innocent, warm, as if they had already forgotten the danger from yesterday. But Evan had not. He watched every shadow. Every sound made him turn. His muscles stayed tight. His mind stayed alert. He felt responsible for them now, and that feeling scared him more than any raider. The Empress approached quietly. Her long dark robes moved like soft smoke behind her. "You haven't slept," she said gently. It wasn't a question. Evan didn't deny it. "I keep thinking," he said quietly, "about the raiders, about the prophecy, about why your children trust me so much." The Empress looked at him, her eyes calm but full of depth. "They trust you because they sense your heart," she said. "Humans carry something rare, a fire that does not die, even in pain." Looked away. He didn't want to talk about his pain. He didn't want to remember the past he ran from. The Empress didn't push him. She simply stood beside him, silent and understanding. After a moment, she pointed to a clearing deeper inside the forest. "Come," she said. "There is something you must learn." Training beyond the clearing was large and flat, stones arranged in a circle, marks on the ground from old training battles. This was no ordinary place. It felt sacred, important. Several royal guards stood waiting, their armor shining with blue light, their faces calm but focused. The twins ran ahead and grabbed Evan's hands. "Train with us," they said. "We want to learn with you." Evan blinked, surprised. "Me? Train?" The Empress nodded. "You fought well yesterday," she said. "But skill and instinct are different. You must learn both." Evan hesitated. "I'm not a warrior," he said softly. "I'm just a traveler." The Empress stepped closer. "You may not accept it," she said, "but you fought like someone who has been forged by hardship. The children are safer with someone like you." Evan looked at the twins again, their trusting smiles, their small hands holding his. How could he say no? "All right," he said. "I'll try." The twins cheered, the guards bowed respectfully, and the Empress gave the first command, "Begin." Learning the way of Jirwayaryanes training was hard, harder than Evan expected. He learned how to dodge alien weapons, how to block strikes with simple arm movement, how to move silently across strange ground. The guards showed him how to use a staff, the same kind he grabbed during the battle. They taught him how to strike, how to protect, how to stay balanced. Evan stumbled many times, fell twice, sweated endlessly. But every time he failed, the twins clapped and shouted, "You can do it. Try again." Evan found himself smiling, a real full smile he hadn't felt in years. The Empress watched from a distance. Her eyes softened whenever Evan helped the twins train. She noticed something important. Evan didn't train like a warrior trying to show strength. He trained like a protector trying to keep the children alive. And that meant more than skill. It meant heart. Seeds of Dob. Later that afternoon, Evan sat alone near a glowing pool. His reflection rippled with soft blue light. He touched the water and whispered, "What am I doing here?" He wasn't a hero, not a chosen one, not a guardian. He was a man who lost too much, ran too far, tried to forget everything. Why would fate pull him here? Why would children dream of him? Why would an Empress trust him? He closed his eyes, memories of his past flashed inside, a family he failed, a world he couldn't save, a promise he broke. His chest tightened. He felt unworthy, not strong, not healing, just lost. "The Empress speaks Trut." The Empress approached quietly, but Evan sensed her presence. He didn't look up. He didn't need to. "You carry a heavy shadow," she said softly. Evan nodded without speaking. "You think your past makes you unworthy," she continued. "But pain does not break a guardian. It shapes one." Evan looked at her with tired eyes. "I don't want to fail them," he whispered. "I don't want to fail again." The Empress knelt beside him, a rare gesture from a ruler. Her voice was calm, warm, surprisingly human. "You will not fail," she said, "because you stand up even when your heart is broken. Because my children chose you, and I trust their hearts more than any prophecy." Her words cut deep, not painfully, but in a way that reached places he buried long ago. The Empress stood and offered her hand. "Come," she said. "We still have much to prepare." Evan took her hand, and for the first time, he didn't feel like a wanderer. He felt like someone finding a purpose he never knew he needed. Behind him, the twins waited with bright smiles, their silver eyes full of hope, and Evan walked toward them, not as a traveler, not as a stranger, but as the beginning of something greater, something he didn't fully understand yet. The human guardian was awakening, slowly, powerfully, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming. The moon stayed peaceful for 2 days after Evan's training began. The twins laughed. The guards watched the forest. The Empress stayed close, and Evan learned to move like a real protector. But peace never stays long when enemies wait in the dark, and the enemy watching them was closer than any of them realized. The WRNING was evening when the wind suddenly changed. Soft breezes turned sharp, leaves rustled like whispers. The sky dimmed even though the sun still hung above the horizon. Evan was practicing staff strikes with the girl twin. The boy watched, cheering happily. When the girl suddenly froze mid-step, her eyes widened, her small hands trembled. "They're here," she whispered, her voice shaking. "The bad ones." Bigger this time. Evan felt his stomach tighten. He knew the children sensed danger before anyone else. Their royal blood carried instinct, a warning stronger than sight or sound. The Empress stepped out from between the trees. Her robes moved like dark clouds, her eyes sharp, her voice firm. It has begun. Before Evan could ask, a loud explosion echoed across the forest. Not one, but many. Boom, boom. The ground vibrated. Birds fled into the sky. The glowing plants dimmed in fear. Royal guards rushed into the clearing, their faces pale. Their weapons ready. Your Majesty, one guard shouted. An entire battalion of raiders has landed. They surround the moon. Evan's breath caught. An entire battalion? Not 10, not 50, but hundreds. The Empress turned to her children. You must stay behind me, she ordered. But the twins shook their heads and grabbed her hands. Mother, no, the boy cried. We can't lose you. You won't, she promised gently. Then she looked at Evan, her voice steady. You protect them, Evan nodded. No hesitation, no doubt. His heart knew what he must do. He would protect these children, even if it meant facing the entire galaxy. The raiders are the forest exploded with red light as the raider army marched forward. Heavy footsteps shook the ground. Their armor glowed with burning crimson marks. Hundreds of soldiers carried deadly weapons. Their commander, the same one Evan fought earlier, walked at the front, but this time he did not smirk. He did not taunt. He looked furious, humiliated, ready for revenge. Empress, he roared, come out and die with honor. The Empress stepped forward, graceful, calm, dangerous. Her presence alone made the raiders hesitate. You will not touch my children, she said, her voice soft but sharper than any blade. The commander pointed at Evan. And the human? He hissed, he dies first. Evan lifted his staff, his stance steady, his heart calm. He felt no fear, only purpose. The battle begins with a roar. The raiders charged, hundreds rushing like a tidal wave, fire exploding from their weapons, ground shaking under their boots. The Empress raised her hand. A massive shield of blue energy burst around her and the twins, protecting them like a dome of light. Evan stood outside the shield, facing the charging army alone. He held his staff tightly, his breathing slow, steady. He whispered, I won't let you touch them. The first raider reached him. Evan struck fast. A sharp crack echoed as his staff hit the raider's helmet. The soldier fell instantly. Two more attacked. Evan dodged left, swung right, blocked a blade, his movements fast, fluid, precise, exactly like a trained guardian, exactly like someone who had done this 1,000 times. The Empress watched with wide eyes. She could feel it. The prophecy was rising through him, awakening. More raiders came, 5 at once. Evan spun the staff and knocked 2 down, jumped back from a burning blade, kicked one raider's knee, struck another in the chest. His muscles burned, his breath tore from his lungs, but his heart stayed strong. He fought like the twins were his own children. Breaking Tekuro-UGH, the raider commander saw Evan pushing back dozens of his soldiers. His rage exploded. Yeno-UG. He roared, he charged forward, his burning blade crackling loudly. Evan met him head-on. The clash sent sparks flying. The commander struck again and again. Evan blocked each strike, but barely. The commander was stronger, heavier, trained for war. But Evan had something else. A reason to fight. A heart that refused to break. A promise unspoken but powerful. The commander swung a powerful strike. Evan dodged barely. The blade cut into a stone behind him, melting it instantly. Evan used the opening. He slammed his staff into the commander's chest. Once, twice, the commander stumbled, surprised by the human strength. The Empress saw the opening. Her eyes glowed bright blue. She lifted both hands, a wave of power. Shot forward, striking the commander and throwing him across the battlefield. The raiders saw their leader fall, and fear flooded their ranks. Many dropped their weapons, many ran, many fell to their knees in shock. Evan stood panting, sweat dripping, arms shaking, but he stayed standing. The children ran out of the barrier and hugged him from behind. "You're safe. You saved us again." Evan dropped to one knee, holding them close, feeling their small arms around his neck, feeling something powerful grow inside him, a bond he never expected. The Empress walked slowly toward him, her voice soft but filled. "With pride, you fought like a guardian," she said. "Not because of prophecy, but because your heart chose to." Evan looked up at her, still breathing hard. "I didn't do it for destiny," he whispered. "I did it for them." And the Empress knew the prophecy was real, but that wasn't what mattered most. What mattered was that Evan Hale, a human wanderer, had become the one thing her children needed most: a shield, a protector, a father figure without being asked. The final battle was not the end. It was the beginning of something far greater. Something that would change the Dominion forever. The forest slowly fell quiet after the battle. Smoke faded. The ground cooled. And the stars finally appeared in the dark sky above. Evan Hale sat on a large stone, breathing slowly. His clothes were torn, his arms bruised, his body exhausted, but the twins stayed beside him, holding his hands tightly. They didn't want to let go, not even for a second. The Empress stood a few steps away, her veil lifted slightly in the evening breeze, her eyes fixed on Evan with a look he didn't understand. Not fear, not suspicion, but something warm, something grateful, something quietly hopeful. The royal guards checked the area, making sure all the raiders were gone, but Evan didn't focus on them. His eyes stayed on the children. They sat close to him, leaning on him like he was their home. The girl whispered, "You stayed with us." The boy added, "You didn't run." Evan smiled weakly. "I told you," he replied softly. "I won't let anything hurt you." The Empress finally stepped forward, her footsteps soft on the forest floor. She looked at her children, and then at Evan. "You protected them," she said. "You fought an army to keep them safe." Evan shook his head. "I just did what anyone would do." "No," the Empress said firmly. "Not anyone. Many have failed them. Many have feared them. But you," she looked at him deeply, "you stayed." Evan lowered his eyes. He didn't feel like a hero. He didn't feel strong. He felt tired, human, just human. But the twins saw something different in him. They hugged his arms again. "You feel like family." The girl whispered, "You feel like someone who was missing," the boy said. Evan felt something warm rise inside his chest. A feeling he hadn't felt in years. A feeling he thought he lost forever. Home. The Empress's decision a few hours later. The Empress led everyone toward a hidden path. The moonlight guided the way. The trees glowed gently, almost welcoming them. Evan walked behind the Empress, with the twins still holding his hands. The path ended at a grand ancient structure, a hidden palace carved inside a mountain. Glowing doors opened slowly, revealing a long hall filled with soft blue lights and floating lanterns. Inside, a great round table stood at the center. Two small seats sat close together, and one larger seat stood beside them. A place of honor, a place of importance. Evan looked around, confused. "What is this?" he asked. The Empress turned toward him, her veil removed for the first time. Her face revealed, strong, beautiful, tired, and gentle. A ruler who carried pain and hope in equal measure. "This is the Hall of Choosing," she said. "A place where royal bonds are made." Evan felt his heart beat faster. "I don't understand." Before the Empress could answer, the twins ran ahead to the table and pointed at the empty large seat. They shouted with joy, "We saved a seat for you." Their voices echoed across the hall, sweet, innocent, warm, the same words they said the first day he arrived, but now they meant something deeper, something powerful. Evan felt his throat tighten, his eyes stung. He whispered, "For me?" "Yes," the girl said, climbing onto her chair. "It's yours." The boy nodded. "You belong here." Evan looked at the Empress, searching for answers. She stepped closer and spoke softly. "My people need hope. My children need a guardian, and I She paused, her voice shaking with emotion she rarely showed. I need someone I can trust. She looked into Evan's eyes. You saved them when I could not. You fought like you were born for this. You loved them without even realizing it. Evan's breath caught love. He looked at the twins again, their small faces full of warmth, their eyes shining with trust. Maybe she was right. Maybe he did care more than he understood. The Empress stepped closer, her voice lower, almost a whisper. You can choose to leave. She said, no one will stop you. No one will blame you. Evan looked down, his heart felt heavy. Leaving meant going back to being alone, wandering with no purpose, no family, no laughter, no small hands holding his. Then he looked at the two seats beside the large one, the twins smiling at him with hope, waiting, believing in him. And something inside Evan broke open, the loneliness, the running, the guilt, the past. All of it washed away under the sight of two alien children who wanted him, not as a hero, not as a soldier, but as someone who belonged to them. Evan stepped forward slowly, his steps echoing in the hall. The twins bounced excitedly, their silver eyes glowing. He reached the empty chair, placed his hand on its back, and whispered, if this is where I'm needed, then this is where I stay. The twins cheered loudly. The Empress closed her eyes in relief. A soft smile touched her lips. Evan Holly took the seat beside the royal heirs, and in that moment, a wanderer became a guardian, a stranger became family. A lost man found a place he never knew he needed. Across the hall, the Empress bowed her head respectfully. Welcome home, Earth Guardian, and for the first time in years, Evan felt the word home echo inside his heart, warm, real, and finally true.